Welcome to Daily Armour. Today we're going to be in Proverbs chapter 3, and two of my all-time favorite verses is verse 5 and 6, but that's not where we're going to be today. Probably my most important verse, probably the most valuable verse in my life, and kind of what the core of my issues usually go back to. What they have been so, off by so much in the past, is coming from not obeying, not heeding verse number 7. And as I'm getting older, and putting 5 and 6 into practice, not because of anything that I have instigated, but God has absolutely continually put me in circumstances where I have to apply 5 and 6, then I'm understanding more and more why number 7 probably is the most valuable proverb for me. I don't know if you've got an issue in this area, but I do. I'm getting better. I've not arrived. I don't have it figured out. But let's get into verse number 7. And then I have some questions that I want to ask you. If you've ever made the statement, I'm going to give us a list of statements. These are things that I've said or that I have heard, especially with my husband. It's kind of things that through our 30 years being together that we have either said to one another, or it's applied in different situations. But let's just start with verse number 7. Verse number 7 says, "Be not wise in thine own eyes, fear the Lord, and depart from evil." There is so much that's being said right there. Now, I love verse 5 and 6. I have them memorized. "Trust in the Lord with all thine heart. Lean not unto thine own understanding. In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy paths." I love those two verses. I held on to those two verses through many, many, many years of my journey with the Lord. I continue to go back to those verses whenever something comes up and I'm like, what are we going to do? And I like, trust in the Lord with all thine heart. With all that I can do within me, trust in the Lord. But verse number 7 is the one that causes me trouble, that causes me not to trust him. The one that gives me trouble, that causes me to try to figure things out. Listen at verse number 7 again. "Be not wise in thine own eyes." What does wise mean? About being intelligent, being skillful, being cunning, being crafty, that trying to figure it out. Or thinking you do have it figured out, or thinking that, this is, I'm not going to do this, or I'm not going to do that, or this is the only way that can happen, and this is this is the only option. There is no other option. Going back again to what I have heard in the last 30 years between Todd and myself, either I've said it or he's said it. Statements like this: "Oh, I know what to do. I know what to do. Oh, this is exactly what we need to do." Or have you said or heard, "Well, we have to. We don't have any other choice." That's a big one Todd used to say all the time. "Well, we don't have any other choice." And I would say, well, of course we do. Of course we have a choice. We have the choice to not to. There's always another choice. And so this is something that we have experienced in our 30 years. And then you get to that point and you don't see, it's because we don't see another choice. We don't see another option. But does that mean there's not another choice? No. This is why that this is so valuable to me. Be not wise in thine own eyes. Have you said or heard, "I know exactly what they should do. If this is simple. This is obvious. Why can't they just see it? This is obvious what they should do." I think we've all been guilty of that at one point in our life. Even for me to know exactly what I need to do. It's not always so easy to see it. It's not always so easy to, even if you know what you're supposed to do, the actually doing it is so hard and so difficult. Okay? Oh, that's easy. Oh, that's no big deal. You know that, I mean, when we're thinking like, oh, that's an easy decision. I know exactly what to do. Oh, that's no big deal. We'll just do this without considering what God wants us to do. I think Todd and I have fell into that trap many times. I think we all have. Easy, because we think, oh, Lord, I'm not even going to bug you with this little stuff. And then we find out the little stuff was big stuff. I mean, it was big, much, much bigger than we thought. Why? Because we were being wise in our own eyes. We thought, oh, I got this. I can handle this. I know how to do this. Even something that I've been doing for many, many years, like teaching Sunday school. I try to fight off that urge to say, oh, I can teach that. And I ask the Lord, I have to stop and say, you know what, Lord, you may have something different. You may have a different approach for me today. You may have something new for me to try. And Lord, I'm always learning and I don't have it figured out. And so I have to stop myself when I'm like, oh, I can handle this. I think we've all said that. That's, something we think, well, I don't want to bug the Lord with that because that's simple. That's easy. That's obvious. Well, what if it's not? What if God's got something different, but you're not stopping and I'm not stopping to consider? That's when we're being wise in our own eyes. Have you said, we can't because the numbers don't add up? I'll tell you, probably the largest mistake in my life I made when we moved to Florida, because our income was slashed, our expenses were probably doubled, because we had 2 house payments, and God presented an opportunity just a few weeks after that we were here, and I'm just about to cry. He revealed an opportunity for my children that I assumed, that I thought, well, the numbers don't add up. There's no way we could even, I didn't even try to pursue it. Why? Because I looked at the numbers. And because I'm a numbers person, I looked at the numbers. And even though the Lord has taught me so many times, don't look at the numbers. I'm going to provide. I'm going to take care. I know it looks bad, but I've got the supply ready and available. In this moment, I missed it. And it was something that would have greatly, greatly, greatly benefited my children. And I regret that decision. I mean, it makes me sick, because I think that they would have done so much better. They would have handled the move so much better. They would have handled all the stuff that we had to go through for the first 3 years. It was so hard. Oh my word, it was so hard. And all of that would have went so much better if I would have realized that God had revealed this opportunity right perfectly when I needed it. But I used fear and looking at the numbers to say, oh, I can't do this. We can't do this. So that's something that I will always be like, when I think of that, I will always be like, oh my goodness, Lord, I was being wise in my own eyes in that predicament. I was looking at the numbers and I wasn't understanding that it was an opportunity and He already had it all figured out, and I missed it. I can't go back and undo it. I can't go back. This is probably one that is, this last statement, this is what I'll share, and then we'll move on, that gets us all in trouble. I can't take it anymore. I have to, whatever that scenario, whatever you feel, you're backed up into a corner and you get into panic mode, fear. Well, we have to right now. No, we didn't have to right now. We could have continued to wait. And man, has God showed me that one over and over and over again. And even when I've had, and for me, Todd has put a lot of pressure on me, and he knew what he was doing. He knows me, knows how to push my buttons. He knows me. And he has pushed me and pushed me and pushed me and pushed me. And I'll finally just like, okay, whatever, do whatever you want. And then so many times I'm like, gosh, I don't even need to give in to him, when I felt deep in my heart that, and I would express, but we need to wait, And he would be like, we can't, we have to do it now. We have to do it now. And he's not saying that from the Lord. He's saying that from panic and fear and frustration, because he's like, I can't take it anymore. We have to. And through making that mistake on several occasions, I have had to find new ways to help him, to be that helpmate that he needs. And for him, he knows how to be that helpmate for me. When it's me on the other end, he knows how to handle and help me. I don't want to say handle me as much as he knows how to help me, and he knows how to get my mind focused off. It's harder for me to snap him out of it. It's just really more difficult for me. And what the Lord has taught me to do is stand up, be firm, and say, when you're ready to make a decision not based out of panic or fear, then I will 100% support you. When you say the Lord is this is what the Lord's leading you to do. When he said we're moving to Florida, I knew we were only going to Florida because God said so. Because it's not a choice Todd would have made. It wasn't something, he was trying his best to get out of it. He was trying his best to not have to come. He was trying his best to find, well, Lord, surely this is not what you want. No, obviously this is not what you want. He was trying to figure things out. But what it all boiled down to was, he wants us to move to Florida. Why? That's all up to him. He's got the plan, the purpose, the provisions. He said to go, and that's what we're supposed to do. But when we're making decisions, when I've made decisions or he's making decisions, and I'm like, but we don't have any other choice. And he's like, he knows how to calm me down, like I said. But I've had to work a little bit harder at helping him when he's in that panic mode. And when the difference between when your spouse or your best friend or your child, the difference when they're making a decision because God is leading them versus making the decision because of flesh. Either, but I want it so bad. I don't have any other choice but to give in. I want it so bad. I can't stop myself. Or, I can't take it anymore. We have to do this. There's no other way. And there is always another way. God's always got another way, and he's always got another choice for us. And sometimes that choice is just to wait. So, when I'm trying to think that I've got it figured out, or I know this is what I'm supposed to do based on the numbers or the flesh or what I want, or that even like I told you, I began a journey in the book and back in the month of March. And for me, I knew within myself, Lord, this is a temptation for me today. I'm not going to be able to give into it. I'm not going to be able to stay away from it. I'm going to give into it. I know I am. But Lord, if you want me to truly do this, then Lord, you're going to have to help me and show up and stop me and change everything. Absolutely change everything. And that's exactly what he did. When I stopped to consider that he had another way, when I feared the Lord, and that's what I wasn't saying it in boldness. I was saying it in desperation. I was like, Lord, I really just can't. I can't stop myself. The hunger that was inside of me was so viciously strong, and I just didn't have the willpower to not to. But he showed up because I was asking for him to show up, because I was asking for us to do it his way and not my way. I feared him. I was respecting him. I was looking to him. I was counting on him. I didn't know how it was going to work out. And miracle after miracle after miracle after miracle. And I was able to not do what my desires were. I was able to not, because God had a different way. He had a different plan. And all these months later, I'm sticking to the plan. How? Because God told me to. Because I don't have it figured out. Because every day I need Him to help me. Every day I've got a new distraction. Every day I've got a new problem, issue, opportunity. Even in some of the opportunities, you're like, oh, but how am I going to handle this? Like, I had an opportunity right after that I began this journey, and I had to travel. How am I going to do that? How do I figure this out? And He had to help me and show me, and and I made it through, and even didn't get off track. But then weeks later, months later, then other opportunities and this opportunity, and you're going to be faced with this, and you're going to be faced with that. How are you going to do it? How are you going to handle it? Going back to not leaning onto my own smarts, because I'm not smarter than the Lord. I don't have it all figured out to where I don't need Him. I need Him for everything. And then I like this last part, and depart from evil. What does that talk about? It's stop trying to figure it out. When I am trying to figure something out, I will absolutely get butterflies. My nerves will be shot. My brain hurts because I'm stressing myself out, which for me puts me into hunger mode. I just get like viciously hungry, because that's my go-to to relieve stress. And I know that's not for everybody, but that's kind of what it is for me. I'm like that, give me some food. I'm stressing myself out. But when the depart from evil is when I'm stopping I'm stopping myself. I'm like, nope, I'm not going to try to figure this out. Lord, what can I do? Help somebody else? Do something for somebody else? Take your mind off yourself? Go get busy? That's what, led me. I made some phone calls. I've reached out to some people. I've give me this opportunity to do this for you, please, because I need it. And then it goes back to, how do I depart from evil? We go back to my favorite verses, 5 and 6. My favorite part, trust in the Lord. Count on Him, rely on Him, expect to see Him show up. Wait on Him. Oh my gosh, wait on Him. Another one of those big life lessons. The Lord is like, wait on me. It's going to be worth it. You're going to be so glad you did. You're not going to have any regrets. Your stomach's not going to be tore up. You're not going to be miserable. Just wait on me, because I'm worth the wait. Now, oh my goodness, He's worth the wait. When I'm trying to figure things out, when I'm trying to understand things, when lots of things are not making sense, when we will always come short in our intelligence, understanding that I'm always going to come short in my intelligence, in what my brain is comprehending. There's always going to be something extra that I don't get, see, or understand, because He's just too big. He's just too awesome, too amazing. He has a different way to do things than I would do them, and His way is always better. I think about Job's friends, and they thought they knew exactly why Job was going through all this. You are being punished from God, Job. This wouldn't have happened to you, but you're being punished. Now you just need to confess it. You need to submit, and you need to confess it. And they hounded him and hounded him and hounded him and hounded him. And he was like, I know it doesn't make sense, but I've been serving the Lord. And to my knowledge, I've not done anything to upset the Lord to merit all of this. They just knew he had some kind of secret sin. They just knew that they spoke for God. Ooh, don't speak for God. That's so dangerous. Don't speak for God. Don't assume anything. But just let God handle it. Just let God handle it. Be supportive. That's what Job's friends needed to do. They just needed to comfort him. They just needed to help him. He had lost his children. He had lost all of his livestock and his business. And then his body was just, with all these sores and all this pain, and he was just miserable. And his wife was in despair, and she was miserable. And he needed comfort and help, but that's not what he got. He got hammered and hammered and hammered and hammered and hammered. But you know what? He was found faithful. He wasn't being punished, but he was being tried and tested. And he was found faithful to the God he served. And that's how to not figure things out is how we get through, and how that when we are put to the test, when we are tried, when it doesn't make any sense. As I was praying over my prayer list this morning, my prayer list is just got stuff everywhere. I've got circled my friend Teresa Williams, and above it I've got home. And I still don't understand why she's already there, why God didn't leave her, because I needed her. Her husband needed her. All of her children needed her, and it just doesn't make any sense. But you know what? Be not wise in my own eyes. Don't try to figure it out. Respect the Lord, fear the Lord, respect Him, and understand that He's got so much more going on than we can ever comprehend, and it absolutely doesn't make sense. But He doesn't want us to be bitter. He doesn't want us to give up. He wants us to just stop trying to figure it out and trust Him and lean on Him, not me. Lean on Him. Lean on Him. Lean not unto my own understanding. I mean, my own understanding is just going to give me, ulcers and, heart failure and, brain overload and a panic attack and a nervous breakdown. That's what the years of me trying to figure things out have caused in my past. And when God was teaching me the process of trusting Him, and then as He has showed me that this verse number 7 is where I have the most trouble, and maybe, just maybe, that this is what gives you the most trouble, is that you think you've got it figured out, or you're trying to figure it out. And there's just so much in life that we can't figure out. And He just wants us to trust Him, follow Him, wait on Him, not give in to ourselves or to others, not give up, not give over, not get bitter, but let it all make us better. Thank you for joining me. I look forward to seeing you again soon.